Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Rainbows Are Circles. This is Julie Malari, and today we are talking about the power and importance of delegation. Okay, so this is a really big topic because I feel like delegating, at least for myself, was something that I felt really resistant to for a long time because I had this idea that I should be able to do everything myself. I should be able to know how to do everything. If I'm doing anything at all, like I should understand every aspect of it and be able to do that everything in it really, really well. And I do think there's a lot of benefit to that. However, once you understand how something works and all of the different parts that have to work together in order to make a project or a business or fill in the blank work out, then you can start to focus on the parts that you're good at and that you enjoy and delegate the other things. Okay. So why is this important? It's important because when you delegate, you free up your time to get really good at the things you're really already good at and naturally want to do. And when you are naturally good at something and you want to do something, that is, I think Gay Hendricks calls that your zone of genius. It's like your flow state zone. It's the things that you are innately talented at, that you are excited to do, that you're passionate about, that time goes by really quickly when you're doing them. So when you delegate, you kind of cut out all of the other things. You like trim the fat, and then you can focus on your favorite things that you're most passionate about and get really, really good at doing those things. And when you do that, it's like you accelerate your growth so much faster, and you just allow yourself to develop and grow and expand in ways that you wouldn't have been able to if you were still doing all of the other tasks that you didn't enjoy and that you weren't good at. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example from my life. So I was going to fly out to Indiana earlier this week because I have a couple rental properties out there that needed a few tasks done. So I had to order some chairs, unpack them, get them ready for the next tenant. I had to take a walkthrough video of the place to send to a prospective tenant because she was interested in renting next month. And then I had to, assemble a picnic table that I had purchased a while ago. So I was going to fly out there this week. I was really tired from the previous week and weekend. And so I was like, okay, how important is it that I go out there? Can somebody else do this work for me and I can pay them for it? So I basically looked up on Thumbtack, which is a website where you can hire like handyman, cleaners, etc. And I found a guy that had reasonable prices and really good reviews. And I messaged him and I asked him if he could do this work for me. He said yes. I set up a time. I gave him the keypad code for the house. He came when he said he was going to come. He set up the chairs. He set up the picnic table, which actually would have been really hard for me to do because it was a really heavy table and kind of a big bulky box. And it would have taken me probably, I don't know, a couple hours to do that. And then he also took a walkthrough video of the house and he did a really good job on that. Like I asked him just to make sure that, you could see every room and that he went slow enough so that you could really take in the space. A lot of times when people aren't used to filming a house or a room, they do it kind of quickly and you can't really get a sense of where things are and how everything connects to each other if you walk through the house too quickly. And he was like, oh, yeah, I used to work in real estate. So, yeah, I'll do this for you. And he did such a good job. He like started at the front door. He like paused when he got in the front door. He like scanned scanned the whole room really slowly, and then he went into the next room and like again just went at a really good pace. He sent it to me on WhatsApp because the file was really big, and like it just went so smoothly. And all of that only cost me, I feel like he didn't charge me that much. It was like $130. He set up both chairs, the picnic table. He took that video. He was there for a few hours, and he did all of that. And what that saved me, yes, I quote unquote lost $130, but I didn't really lose it because I would have spent 5 hours, including like driving to the airport, parking, going, to the gate, blah, blah, blah. All of that would have taken me like maybe 6+ hours. Let's just say 6 to get to Indiana. And then I would have to take like a $30 Uber or rent a car, but a $30 Uber to the homes. And then I would have spent like at least 2 days being there because of the timing of the flights, and just because, I wouldn't want to fly out the same day and then fly back. So, and then I would have had to purchase meals while I was there, purchase an Uber coming back. So all of that would have cost so much more than $130. And because I did that, instead of being out there for 2-3 days, I got to stay at home. I got to work on my podcast. I got to create some meditations. I got to just have some days of rest because the last couple weeks were a little bit intense. And I did so much. Like I took a workshop online. I think I took 2 workshops online, and I just really got to put some time into my podcast, my YouTube channel, and building my email list, which I would not have been able to do if I had gone to Indiana. And I was just like, wow, that was really like a game changer. And then on top of that, I got to pay somebody else for their skills for doing what they do well. So I'm getting the chance to contribute to somebody else's lifestyle, to their livelihood, and to the economy. And I think that's something that I never really thought about it like that before, because I just kind of assumed that I should be able to do everything. If I start a project, I should be able to do every single aspect of it. And it's just not true. And actually thinking like that keeps me from growing in other areas of my life and like really honing the skills that I'm good at, that I enjoy, and that are important to me. So I'm just so grateful that I had the opportunity to do this, that I found someone that was so amazing that I will very likely hire and work with in the future. And so if you feel like there's an area of your life where you are spending a lot of time doing things that you don't like and that you're not good at and that take you a long time, and you could pay somebody else to do these things for you, what would that be? And how could you set that up? How would letting go of certain things increase your ability to really expand and grow in another area of your life? And what would that enable you to do? So that's a really good thing to just like ponder and reflect on, maybe even journal on, or just kind of hold that question in your head over the next week. Like, what is something that I could let go of? What could I delegate in order to focus my energy more intently on what's the most important to me? There is this book called 10x is easier than 2x by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. I believe I will link it down below in the show notes. It's a really good book. And actually, when I first read the title of this book, I was like, 10x is easier than 2x. Like, that's bullshit. Like, what are they even talking about? Like, that's just something that, I don't know. I had such a resistance to it. I was like, that's something that rich people say because they have like the money to pay people to do all the things that they don't want to do. And like, I don't know why I was like angry about it. And then I listened to the book and I was like, okay, this is amazing. This is like game changing. And he gives this example of this woman who started in real estate, and she basically like her whole journey of how she started in real estate. She started like from the ground up and just worked her way up and eventually built this like became the top real estate agent in her city and then like in her like state, and then built her own like real estate brokerage, and then like started training others in like out of state, and like just built this like insane real estate business. And the way she did it was she just kept focusing on the parts of the business that she was good at and that she enjoyed. And then she would hire and delegate out the other stuff. And she didn't have a lot of money. She started off like, I mean, I think she was actually really struggling in the beginning. And it was a very long process. It was a whole journey. It was like years and years to go from where she started to where she is now. And I don't even think she ever expected to do what she did, but it just happened so naturally and organically because she just focused on the things that she enjoyed and was really good at, and had the mindset and like the trust to hire the rest out. Okay. So anywho, give that book a read or a listen. It's really good. And it's all about like, working harder and doing everything doesn't necessarily, I mean, it actually doesn't get you better results. Okay. So trimming the fat, focusing on what you're good at, what you enjoy, and learning to outsource and delegate the rest is what gets you better results faster. Okay, so before we wrap this up, I want to talk a little bit about the zone of genius, which was that concept coined by Gay Hendricks. And so if you don't know what your zone of genius is, what gets you in the flow state, what you're really good at, here are some of the pointers, the tips from the book that you can reflect on to find your zone of genius. So number 1, identify your passions. What things do you find most joyful, fulfilling? What do you look forward to doing? And another trick to like finding what interests you and what you enjoy the most is to look at the books. Like if you buy books, look at your bookshelf. Okay. Or if you listen to podcasts, look at your podcast feed. What are the topics that keep coming up? So for me, like my bookshelf, and I actually donated a ton of books because when I moved earlier this year, I was like, oh my gosh, I have so many books. So all of my books were about yoga, meditation, spirituality, personal development. I had books about tarot, about astrology. So those are all the things that I just like read about obsessively. And it's funny well, it's not funny. It makes total sense. But like, that's how I started this podcast. It was to talk about all of the things that like I love and I'm so interested in. And now this podcast has shifted a little bit because I'm not, at least right now, I'm not doing interviews. As I'm getting back into doing the podcast, I'm just kind of talking about the things that I'm interested in and that I'm learning and sharing those things with you. I will likely do interviews again, but I'm just I'm trying to remove any blockages from working on the podcast, because when you interview people, like it takes more time. You have to like reach out to the people, you have to set up a time, you have to like it's just more work and it takes more time. And I was like, I just want to get started and I want to remove any barriers to working on the podcast. And so I actually kind of like doing it this way because I already have so many things that I want to talk about and that I want to share. So I don't necessarily need to like do the interviews, but I feel like when I do start doing them again, it's going to be like icing on the cake. Okay. So that was number one, identify your passions. Number two, reflect on your previous successes. So what have you done in the past that you were really successful at, that flowed really well, that you enjoyed, that was very satisfying for you? So reflect on those things. Number three, ask for feedback. So reach out to your closer friends and family and just ask them like, and I did this actually a few years ago. I was like, hey, what do you think I am good at? Where have you seen me the happiest? Where have you seen me like really come alive when I'm doing it or talking about it? And the answers that I got were really interesting because I thought that like, I don't know what I was expecting, but basically people, like one of my friends told me like, you know what, when you were teaching this yoga, I was teaching a lot of yoga during the pandemic. I was doing a lot of live Zoom sessions. And she was like, one time I saw you the happiest was when before the yoga class, you showed us these crystals that you had found when you went crystal mining. And like you were so excited to talk about them and you were just so alive. And like it was like your excitement was infectious. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I guess I really like sharing about I don't know, like events that I've done or things that I've discovered, like, and that's what I do like in this podcast. So I'm actually having some realizations like in real time. Okay. So anyways, ask your friends, what are my strengths? What are my best abilities? What am I good at? When have you seen me the happiest? Okay. And the last and fourth one is take a personality assessment. So like a Myers-Briggs test or a human design test. You can find these for free online. I will link them, actually. I will link some of these below so you can take them. And you might come up with some insights about yourself that you're like, oh, I didn't know that about myself. And it's kind of fun to do. So anywho, I need to go on my walk now because I'm getting antsy. I hope that this episode was helpful for you. And if you think of, an area of your life where you're like, oh, I definitely need to delegate this. If you come up with any reflections, I'd love to hear about them. So you can put them, you can put them in the comments, but I don't know if I'll see them. So because everybody listens on different types of podcasts and players. So anyways, if you want to share something with me, email me at julie@rainbowsrcircles. rainbowsrcircles@gmail.com. rainbowsrcircles@gmail.com. And the R in Rainbows Are Circles is just the letter R, not ARE. Okay. Have a fantastical day. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, please share it. And please leave a review if you feel so inclined. Oh, also one more thing. Yesterday I actually made this a long time ago, but I I created a link and a little video for a self-care daily journal, daily planner that is a document that you can either print out or you can type directly into it. And it's really helpful for just getting your mindset right for the day, for planning out the important things, and then for reflecting on your day in the evening time. So I really enjoy it because it has my favorite prompts. So, what are three things that you're grateful for? Um, what is a healthy habit that I'm working on today? Um, how many glasses of water did I drink? And then in the evening, it has a few reflection questions like, what am I proud of myself for today? What can I do? What can I improve for tomorrow? And what is one thing that made me smile? And so it's just like a really fun and fast way to bring a little bit of mindfulness and self-care to your day. So it take 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, and like enjoy it. Like I like doing this with like a cup of coffee or tea and just like having some quiet time on the couch before I get my day started. If you need to wake up a little bit earlier to do this, like if you have little ones, you can do this in bed even, or just wake up a little bit earlier. And yeah, it's just a really nice way to keep your day in a direction that you want it to be going. So, anyways, I'm gonna link it down below. It's totally free. You just you can download it. You'll enter your information into the page, the link, and then it'll send to your email. Okay. So have a great day and I'll see you next time.